Good morning, my Teaserking family. How's everybody today? I am fine. Send my girls. All right. So today we're going to walk through how to get from point A to point B picking football games. Very hard. It's very unique because it's not. When you first look at the games, you're like, oh my God, how am I going to pick any games? And as you start digging through everything and you look at, oh, wait, they're a Z team and they got a good offense. They got a bad offense. They got a good defense. They're off of a loss. They got this game. And then you factor in all these variables. And then all of a sudden you get 10 picks. So you go from 0 to 10. Let's look at gold as we always do first. And I had up there 25-14. I got 25-12 right now. Instead of the 10 o'clock drop, it looks like Europe's dropping it at about 8 o'clock now. This is from London. So they're doing the derivatives instead of the US. Same thing. And then at 10 o'clock, the US isn't really doing the derivatives. They don't have any gold to do it with. They've been told, no. So 25-12. Okay. Silver, whatever, 28 cents. Silver just go by. Hey, Todd. Cincinnati was bad. I don't know what you're talking about. Oh, the Bengals? Yeah, they looked really bad, that's for sure. Not what you expect out of Joe Burrow. And now I don't know what to do with them this week against Cincinnati in what should be a bad, what should be a normal Cincinnati plus 12 lock turns into, I got to see a little bit more why these coaches don't play them in preseason, and then here they are in week one. But I had a great week. I mean, the other lock, Oakland under one, and then my college locks, Northern Illinois wasn't even a lock. Michigan, Texas under, and the Nebraska game. Those were the college locks, and then of course the Northern Illinois game. And in the pros was pretty good. Hit the under in the Oakland, hit the over in the Baltimore game, hit the under in the Baltimore, the over in the Green Bay game. And then Sunday had New Orleans over Carolina, which I could not understand that spread. The reason for the Cincinnati bet was simply New England. There's no Belichick. There's no Brady. They got Brissett. Now you watch them against the normal team, they'll get killed. But basically, they ran it down Cincy's throat since he acted like they've never seen a running game again. And then when Burrow had the ball, he didn't do anything with it. He did hit Chase 6 times, but I think they fumbled deep, and I think they fumbled at like the 15 or something of whatchamacallit. But hey, we got a lot of winners too. So everybody likes to get stuck on one game. Are they now and under? No, I don't think so. I don't think they have the defense to be an under. You're under teams like Oakland, right? Great defense. Minshew, teams that are good defensive teams are your under teams. Teams if they just stay with a weak offense, but they got Joe Burrow, so they're not an under team with Burrow and Chase. It's just they weren't prepared for the test. So it's like I said, it's like taking a test and wherever, your driver's test, your whatever test you want to take, and not studying for it, and then wondering why you did bad on the test. Now, oh, if I only would have studied. And that's what Cincinnati did. That's what a lot of teams did. The Jets the same way. They just simply didn't prepare. They didn't play in the preseason. What the fuck do you think that the 3 weeks of the preseason's for? Right? They didn't. Mahomes played in it. I think Burrow played a little. Chase had sat out, but he caught 6 balls, so it wasn't Chase. T. Higgins didn't play with the hamstring, but we knew that. We didn't think we'd need much. It was the defense really let us down, letting Stevenson run for 100 and a quarter or whatever. But I think I don't want to do anything. We know what Joe Burrow, he can go to the Super Bowl, so we got to be careful. Yeah, okay, week 1. Okay, we know it's bullshit week because they haven't played, but let's see them against Kansas City. The pride of Burrow and Chase will definitely come this game. Now, I don't know what to do with it. I seriously doubt Cincinnati's going to get blown out by KC. It just, not with Joe Burrow. I think they'll work it out. I think right now the players are pissed. We lost to fucking New England. Now, were they looking ahead? Right? Is it like Michigan this week? They got Arkansas State and they got USC next week. Are they looking ahead? They would be, except for they got killed by Texas, so they're not looking ahead. They're going to come out pissed again. So I think Cincinnati comes out upset. I don't know if they can handle Mahomes and this new guy, Xavier, and the guy from X-Men. He's not in a wheelchair. And then Kelsey and their defense. I don't know. Not the way they look, but this is the point of gambling on football. Your tendency is to look at them 1 week and assume that's going to happen each week. And again, they're not at home against New England, which was a cake game. So now they're at Kansas City, and we'll see what they look like here. Again, you really don't get the real team. Like here, you won't get the real team until week 4. KC, we've got the real team. Baltimore, I think we got the real team. A lot of these teams, we got the real team. The teams with the new quarterbacks, Bo Nix and Daniels, those you don't know what they are yet. Washington, I think, will be an over team because I think they have no defense, and I think Daniels will start scoring. I think the Bears are an under team because Caleb threw for 95 yards, number 1 draft pick. Yeah, you could have had freaking you could have had Joe Flacco out there and he'd have done better. And they seem to have a good defense. And then you got to read into the box score. Chicago scored on a block punt. They scored on a pick 6 that should never have been thrown. Levis is going to the ground. He just flips it out there. He wasn't even trying to make a completion. He was trying to avoid a sack. Throw the ball into the dirt. But you know what? Take the sack. You're winning. They were winning 17-16 at the time. So he cost them the game. Now you'd think, well, Levis would know that. However, the Bears, okay, let's give them a good defense. No offense. Now that's an under team. And I don't think Caleb will be good at all. I think that he played very well. I think he played good. This is Tennessee that was blitzing him. This week they got Houston. They're going to go to town on him. They got a good defensive coach. So look for them to go to town blitzing. All you got to do is blitz Caleb. And same thing with Stroud. And same thing with half these quarter. Lamar, just blitz him. He's done. You can't blitz Aaron Rodgers. You couldn't blitz Brady or Peyton Manning. And you can't blitz Mahomes or Burrow. But these running type of guys who don't know what they're doing, you can blitz them and don't let Lamar run. Just blitz them. I keep seeing these spies. Why do you have a spy? Just blitz them. If they're just going to stand there because the guy's going to run by them. They're pointless as spies. Just let them, just blitz them. Don't have them just stand there. That's just stupid. Looking ahead, got caught off guard. You're right. Well, you'd think they wouldn't want to lose to New England. They just were not ready. They let Stevenson run, and they let Brissett, he didn't have he had to throw for 100 yards. There's so many bad teams. I'm doing the stats. There must be 16 to 17 teams that didn't get 300 yards of offense. What the fuck is that? I mean, this is embarrassing because they've made all the rules for offense, right? And they didn't. The Lions were not prepared. If Puka doesn't get hurt, they blow them out. Green Bay, what's Jordan Love's status? What's Cam Rising's status at Utah? So yeah, I mean, again, let's wait about till week 3 to really get a thing. Now we know our certain teams. I was surprised Miami didn't score more. I lost that game because I had over 43. I needed 1 touchdown, and fucking Etienne for Jacksonville, he's going into the end zone for a touchdown. He fumbles the ball. How the fuck can you do that? So that cost me my over there. I didn't have many losers this weekend. It was a good weekend, but look at the whole picture. You've got Joe Burrow and Chase. Okay, so you're not going under with those guys. Now, I don't know who their running back is. They lost Mixon. I didn't, Zach Moss is your running back. Really? You're going with that? You can't afford not to have T. Higgins out there, and I don't know who their tight end is. Defensively, I don't know. I don't really like the coach. I don't know where they got the coach from, but I wasn't impressed. It's all just get out of Joe Burrow's way. I'd rather have him hire the LSU coach that took him to the championship game. But this is they look bad, and then Monday after the Kansas City game, then we'll see how did they win. As bad as they look down one game, right now Joe Burrow is pissed off. Okay, he doesn't like to lose, and they got beat by freaking New England, really. So. Yeah, we're all surprised. I think the defense, they held them to 16, but they ran the ball on them. They got 10 points. I mean, what the fuck? This is New England. Belichick's not there. So, again, anticipating New England's going to suck was the point of it. Probably should have locked the Buffalo over, which I loved, and the New Orleans game, which I love. Again, that spread, how would that spread 3.5? And you heard me talk about it Sunday. How did all of a sudden Bryce Young get good? No, he still sucks. He's still the worst quarterback in the league. Caleb's right there with him. And what are you doing? I mean, who's betting on Carolina from 5.5 to 3.5? Who's that stupid, right? So we're dealing with idiots who are betting also. But yeah, I mean, we got to trust Burrow and Chase. I mean, that's a whole new animal than trusting Caleb and whatever, and Bryce Young. So give him a few weeks, and then we'll educate it. I'll walk through the teams in the NFL. What do I think of the Raiders? I think that they need some. They haven't. This is why I don't understand they don't play in the preseason. Minshew's that good. He doesn't need, you can't, it's like going to a new job, right? We've all gone to new jobs, and it takes you 2-3 weeks to get used to it. Where's the bathroom? What do I eat? Where's the coffee? Where's the printer? It takes you a while to get comfortable with the new job. You can't do anything in football with practice. You've got to play. These guys should have played in the preseason. I would fire all the coaches that babied the player and said, we don't want to get anybody hurt. I would fire them all because that's bull. Andy Reid plays Mahomes, and they win Super Bowls. So there's your model. Detroit doesn't play any of their players, and then they ran out of gas, and they should have blown the game. They got lucky to win it. They're up 17-3, and all of a sudden they're down 20-17 because they all got tired because they didn't play in the preseason. So that's going to take another week or two. I think this week they'll be better, but by the third week, they'll be ready to play a full game. They were not ready, and that's why it's always hard week 1. So I think the Raiders, you got Brock Bowers, he had a few catches. They really were right in the game. It was 16-10 late, and then Oakland got a long run or something because they got tired. or San Diego, but I knew it would be a tight defensive game. You had two strong defenses, and that's exactly what you got. Those are your under teams, right? So you're looking when the under. That's why I locked it. You got your under teams. Now I knew they'd be under teams. So it's how good does Brock Bowers develop and Devontae Adams, and then Minshew's not bad. He's not, he's no Cam Rising. He's no Burrow or Mahomes. But he's okay. He's better than Caleb. He's better than Tagliabue. So it's just these teams getting used to each other. So week 2 will be better than week 1, a little more consistency, and then we'll be off and running week 3. Should have played in preseason. Yeah, well, they are dumb. Well, they're not dumb. They're just it's like baseball. Oh, he can only go 100 pitches, and then he might hurt his arm. Well, wait, we got 110 pitchers on the injured reserve. How the hell is that happening when they only pitch every 5 days, 100 pitches? So it's not the pitch count. It's these screwballs that they're trying to throw that maybe they shouldn't throw because it hurts their arm. Then they all run for the Tommy John surgery, which is not good for them. But it's the same thing. Oh, we don't want to get anybody hurt. What the fuck is that? What do you mean? It's football. Everybody gets hurt in football. Look at Jordan Love. All right, you didn't hurt him in the preseason, and then he gets tired at the end of the game and hurts his knee because he's tired at the end of the game because you didn't fucking play him in the preseason, where he would have not been that tired and not get the injury that you tried to avoid. You can get out there and not get injured. Most of the plays, nobody gets injured. This kickoff return is the stupidest thing I've ever seen in my life. I don't know what it is. It's insanity. The guy who thought of this is a fucking moron, right? What's the point of it? What's the point of it? You could have just said if you kick it through the end zone, the ball comes out to the 30, and they would have kicked it to the goal line. Nobody gets hurt on kickoffs. I've never seen any really injury. There was that one in the Florida State Auburn championship game, but the guy pulled his hamstring. It wasn't like a hit. But what's wrong with Anthony Davis going 102 yards? That's exciting. That's good. Nobody got hurt on the play. I mean, the amount of people getting hurt on kickoffs is zero. I mean, maybe 1%. They're running full speed, but that's the game. So the receiver who runs a fly pattern, he shouldn't do it either because he's running full steam and he might get hurt. It's football. They get hurt. It's like car racing. They drive 250 miles an hour. Yeah, when they get into an accident, they get hurt, but that's the nature of the game. If you're going to play football, they get hurt. You can't avoid it. People are hitting each other, but they like to get hit. So that's where I'm at with that. But yeah, Cincinnati did not play like we thought. But again, that's going to happen. We realize we're not Bernie Madoff. We are not going 100%. We are actually playing these games. We are not. So what Bernie Madoff would have done in football is place the bets after the game. Yeah, I had New England to win, and I had the Niners, and I had this and that. That's what Bernie Madoff did because he never placed the bet. He just said he did. We actually bet, and we go against the Z team. That's normal. That was the play. You watch this week. I think they play Seattle and do that. So let's start. We can start with the pros. We have both pro in college, a lot of games in college. So here's the pro. Let me look at the line as we walk through this. So we got a game tomorrow night. We've got Miami 2.5 and 48.5 to Buffalo. Allen against Tua. I got nothing to go by right now. So I got Buffalo as a 28 defense and New Miami's a 17 after one game. See, here's where it changes. Last week I took last year's, right? KC and Baltimore are 17s. Let's see where they are now. KC's a 20 defense and Baltimore's a 27 defense because they played Kansas City. So we know Baltimore's got a good defense, as does KC, and they just played, you know, what it tells me is Baltimore did well against KC's real strong defense. Um, New Orleans has a 10 defense. Is that because they got a great defense or they played Bryce Young? Well, obviously they played Bryce Young. So this is a good game. This is a good match. Here, New Orleans, Dallas. Let's okay. So I got Dallas 6.5, 46. And Carr against Prescott. And New Orleans with the 10 defense because they played Carolina, and Dallas with the 17 defense, which was surprising against Cleveland, but not because Deshaun Watson's terrible. So this should be a very good game here. I am a little surprised that the line is 7, although that was my line, but again, it probably should be 3 or 4. New Orleans looks like a very good team this year. But again, so you got Carr against Prescott. And, you know, you've got to look at who they played. And this is what we do in college when we see them playing, you know, Pittsburgh State, who's Division III, who plays high school games, and they win 65-0. And then they play, you know, Cincinnati, and it's 29-28. So you've got to look at you've got to look at who they're playing. And that's what I'm doing. Is very tedious now, is figuring out what's reality and what isn't, right? Is Old Miss, they beat Townsend 77-0, and then they beat somebody like 59-3 or something like that, or 49-3. Now they get Wake Forest, so now we're going to get a better view, although still not a great view. You really won't know about them until they play Alabama and get killed. But well, let's get away from college. It's all intertwined. So again, so what do we got? So the first game, Buffalo, Miami, I got them both as over teams. I know Miami's defense isn't a 17. The guy fumbled the ball at the goal line going in, or it's a 24 defense, right? See, he's going in. Buffalo, they played a 34-28 game against Arizona. We know they don't have a strong defense. So this is an over game, and I rank both teams as over. So let's go. So Dallas, New Orleans, Dallas 7-46, 10 defense, 17 defense. I rank New Orleans as a beat because they beat Carolina. Let's see how they've handled Dallas. And I rank Dallas an A. Again, they beat nobody, Deshaun Watson in Cleveland. So I don't know. This is a work in progress. I think New Orleans is a good team. Olavi Kamara's playing. They got a new tight end coach in the second year. They seem to have a good defense. They seem to be a good team. Probably better than Tampa. So we'll see. Derek Carr's in another year in the system. So I think they're a very good team in Dallas. You know what I think about them? I think Dak's terrible, and McCarthy's terrible, and I could easily see them losing this game. I think New Orleans is just as good as Dallas. All right. Baltimore, 9.5, 41.5 to Oakland. That number hasn't moved. I got Oakland as an under team. They are a 22 defense, but it was 16-10, and San Diego scored on a late one, just trying to run the clock out. The guy scores. Baltimore I got as an A team. Yeah, they gave up 27. They played Kansas City. And we know they have decent offense, even though they have Lamar, and they usually have a pretty good defense. So I think, so I got them as an A against an under. We'll see. Again, Minshew needs time. You can't get traded and not work with the players. It's so stupid. He's got to work with Brock Bowers and Adams. I think they'll be good when they're finally there. They have a good running back, but they didn't run on San Diego, which is playing Michigan football. So 9.5. I'd like to get it under that 9. 8.5 would be nice. But yeah, it should be a pretty good game. I think Baltimore, off of a loss, should get back. Washington and the Giants. This is like a high school game. Washington 244. Um, I got him. I got the Giants as a Z team. I mean, they're terrible. I mean, you're the Giants owner or GM or coach. What is it that you see about Daniel Jones that we all can't see? He's a terrible quarterback. What the fuck are you playing him for? You got 6 points on Minnesota. You're going to be lucky to get 6 points on Washington. Washington, Daniels looked okay. Their defense sucked. So we got Giants with the 28 defense because they played Minnesota with Sam Darnold, and they gave up 28, and Washington with the 37 defense. So you got two pretty bad teams. I'm going to call them both Z teams. I'm expecting Daniels to get better. Do they even have receivers? And then the Giants, this is as good as it gets for them, was scoring that 6 points on Minnesota. They should score on Washington because Washington's terrible. But it's like baseball. Like I was listening to the Tiger game I had to go to the grocery store, and they were up 10-0. And the radio guys all ecstatic. Oh, look how they're hitting the ball. No, I wouldn't want to play them. And the pitcher on Colorado had like a 12 ERA, and they're hitting a 12 ERA, and the announcers are all excited. Yeah, we've seen when they placed Verlander and he no-hit them, and the guy on Houston and he no-hit them, and all the good pitchers are no-hitting them. But when you place a pitcher with a 12 and they hit them, yeah, they better. So that's what you have here is, you know, if the Giants couldn't score on many, how bad's Washington's defense? It's pretty bad, I think. So this will see. So we've got really weak defenses. Again, Jones, horrible. Daniels. I don't know what to do with this game because the defenses say over, but the offenses say under. I don't see how Daniel Jones is going to get much scoring against Washington. The Giants, I don't have a decent defense. So give Daniels 5 or 6 weeks, give him about 5 weeks. Him, Bo Nix, and Caleb, you can give him 5 years. So that's what you're looking at. I love the announcer of the beer game. He threw 3 completions for 5 yards apiece on little outs, and he says, he looks like he did it. USC. Yeah, really. Those 5-yard passes impress you, huh? Okay. So what do you do with this game? I mean, it's a mess. I mean, again, Daniel Jones. I wish Giants were favored. I'd lock Washington getting 8 because I don't know how the Giants are going to score with this guy, even as bad as Washington's defense are. But this is a problem because this is a Riddler game. You have no idea what you're going to get in this game. So you got to be careful with it. San Diego at Carolina. San Diego is 6.5 and 39. That line hasn't moved. Herbert against Vince Young this time. Carolina with the 47 defense and San Diego with the 10. There's San Diego 6.5 point favorites. Oh, really? Okay. San Diego's an under team, and I got Carolina as a Z. It should be a double Z. Obviously, the worst team in the league, Carolina. I thought New England would challenge them. The question's going to be, will Carolina score in the game? I'm not sure. Indy at Green Bay. So we still don't know about Jordan Love. The coach said, I haven't ruled him out yet. So he's got a sprained MCL. What, are they going to shoot it up like North Dallas 40 and numb him and he'll be able to play? Again, if he would have played preseason, he wouldn't have got that injury. I got both teams as an over when Love's playing. Indy with Richardson. He had a few long passes, but he can't make short passes. Again, going against the mighty Houston defense. Indy is an over at 29 defense. Richardson. Green Bay's an over 34 defense against Philly. And if it's Willis, I don't know what he's thinking. There's nothing we can do but watch. If it is, see, this frustrates me. This would have been a beautiful over. Love and Richardson, Indy and Green Bay. This would have went to 70, right? But now with Willis, what do we got here? I don't know what to do with him. He's really bad. He's more of a runner. He can't complete passes in this offense. I don't know why he's not going to the Tulane quarterback. I'm sure he's not ready yet, but Willis is not an NFL quarterback. So I don't know what they see in Willis, but I'm very kind of surprised Indy's a road favorite. I don't buy that. So I can't touch Indy here. I don't know what to do with Willis. So hopefully Love will be out there. Frisco 645 to Mini. Purdy against Darnell. Frisco an A team. Minnesota got as an under team. Good defense. No quarterback. Just Jefferson. Over under 45.5. So Frisco with the 19 defense, Mini with the 6, but Mini played the Giants. So everybody who played the Giants are going to have a good defense. Mini off the Monday night looked really good, even without McCafferty. They still looked fine. Good defense against Aaron Rodgers. I'm glad he didn't get hurt. When he wasn't in the fourth quarter, I didn't know what was going on. And they got Tyrod Taylor giving him some action. So, I mean, Minnesota I don't know how they're going to generate points. I'm sure Frisco will blitz them a lot, take away Jefferson. And Darnell, I think he wasn't on Frisco last year as the backup. Cleveland and Jacksonville. Jacksonville 341.5. I guess Deshaun Watson against Trevor Lawrence. 2 Clemson quarterbacks. Can you believe that? I got Cleveland as an under. I mean, they have no offense and a killer defense. Jacksonville as an under. Trevor Lawrence sucks. They're probably more of maybe an E team, or they're probably more of they'll score low 20s and they'll give up low 20s. That's probably who Jacksonville is. So what are they? They're not really an over. They're not really an under. They don't have the defense to be an under. They don't have the offense to be an over. They're not an A team. I mean, what are they? They're not a Z team. So they're kind of right in the middle. That's why I call them E. I don't know what to do with them. Like they're even. They're, mid-20 offense, mid-20 defense. What do you do with them? I don't know if they keep going with Deshaun Watson, they're not going to win any games. So we will see what happens. It's like Daniel. He's about where Daniel Jones is. Jacksonville with Trevor, he stinks. I don't know what they see. It's like Daniel Jones. What do you see in the guy that you think he's good? Over under 41.5. I don't know. But Deshaun Watson, now he's running. I was watching the highlights of the game, or some of it on TV, and he goes back to pass and he runs. What is that? You got good receivers, and you've got Chubb. Chubb's the running back, not you, Watson. So I don't know what Watson's doing. He's terrible. I mean, just, they're not going to win with him. Seattle gets New England this week. Seattle 3.5, 38 in New England. Seattle with the 20 defense, New England with the 10 defense. Now, is that real or fake? Geno Smith against Brissett. I'd have rather had Zappy. And Drake May couldn't beat out Brissett. He really sucks. I got an over team for Seattle. They got the good weapons, Walker Jr., Charbonnet, and then Metcalf and TJ Lockett. They got good receivers, good running backs. Geno Smith, he's their weak link. And a 20 defense, that was against Denver. New England, I still have as a W. I don't know if they're an under. Maybe they're an under. Giving up 10 to Burrow. Let's see that in let's see how they are in week 4 against Burrow. Or let's see how they are week 4 against Buffalo, right? Let them play Buffalo, Miami, and see if they're still a 10 defense. They just ran the ball a lot and kept it away from Burrow is really what happened. So who is New England? Okay, we thought they sucked. I'm not sure they're any good. Brissett, The running back, Stevenson, did gain 100 and a quarter. Their defense did shut down Burrow, even though it was the first week. So you don't know. New England's kind of like the Riddlers, the question mark. Are they good? How can they be good? They got a new coach. They don't have Belichick. Brady's gone. Brissett's their quarterback. And how good's their defense? So we don't really know what they are at this point, amazingly. At least with Belichick, we knew they were a good defense. With this coach, I don't even know if the guy knows what he's doing out there. So again, Seattle should kill him, but we don't know what we got here. We don't know the defense. So this is New England's a work in process. Let's wait till week 3 or 4 with them. The JETSs against Tennessee. Jets are 3.5, 40.5. Jets with the 32 defense, that's not real. Tennessee with a 24 defense, in which they a block punt and a pick 6. So they really gave up 10 points. But if Will Levis is going to give up points, that's not good. Rodgers against Levis, not even close there. I got the Jets as an under and Tennessee as an under. That's what I got there, even though the numbers don't say that. We know the Jets. I mean, I was shocked they gave up 32. They got very tired again. Terrible coaching there, not playing anybody. They ran out of steam. So I think they'll be a proud team. I think they'll be much. I think Rodgers will play better. These quarterbacks like Rodgers and Brady and Drew Brees and Burrow, after a loss, they're pissed. So that's all you know. You know they're going to play better. Is that going to be good enough or not? But, we'll see what we get here in this game. But I think at the end, they're both under teams. Levis is not a good quarterback. I don't know what kind of defense they have. The Jets, is going to have a good defense and Aaron Rodgers. So they'll eventually be an A team. All right. The Mighty Lions against Tampa, 7-51.5 for Detroit. The Baker against Goff. They both had 20 defenses. Tampa Bay just lit up. Who the hell did they light up? Tampa Bay lit up Washington. See, Washington still has that weak defense. He threw like 4 touchdowns. I don't think Baker's ever thrown 4 touchdowns in the NFL. So I got Tampa as a B team. I don't trust him as an A team. Terrible coach, but their offense seemed to move against Washington. Detroit is an over team. No defense. I mean, if Pukanuka played, Stafford was lighting them up again with just Cooper Kupp. Still no secondary. Same defensive coordinator, doesn't know what he's doing. So Detroit is always they're always a 51 because they have a good offense, I think, and no defense. St. Cloud didn't do anything. That Williams from Alabama had one long catch where he beat the guy. That's not going to happen too often. So Detroit fell apart, 17-3 lead. They're down 20-17. They did come back to kick the field goal. And then they bring in Montgomery to run it down their throat. And you're like, well, where was he in the fourth quarter? Great coaching. Yeah, you didn't have that. If you would have just done that the drive before, you'd have won it in regulation 24-20. And where were you the second half again, Goff? You get 17 points in the first half and then nothing in the second half until you have to score. You threw, 1 or 2 interceptions. Should have been 2. The guy had it in his hands. You read that play real well. So, excuse me. So we know Goff's a choke. And, here's Tampa, revenge game for the playoff. I don't know if they can revenge it, but Baker's looking better, healthy. Should be an interesting game here. Um, I don't know. Again, trying to get the feel of it, right? I'm used to week 10, but here's week 2. So I think this should be a close game too. Arizona, 1.5, 49.5 to the Rams. Surprised Arizona's favored, to tell you the truth, 49.5. Arizona, we know, is an over team. They're Kyler Murray, they're going to score. They were 34 defense. The Rams at the 26 against the Lions was really a 20 because I'm looking at the end of the game. It's 2020. Pukanuka is out. He's on IR, so I guess he'll be out 4 weeks and hopefully gets healed because they're going to be potent with Pukanuka and Cooper Kupp. Nobody's stopping him. So we will see. So Arizona puts up 28 on Buffalo. Buffalo gets them. The Rams will score on them. Arizona will score on the Rams. Yeah, this probably goes high. You don't have the defense to play it under, right? I mean, Arizona doesn't have a defense, and they had one last year. And the Rams, they lose Aaron Donald. Their defense, okay, it's week 1, and this is the problem. Week 1, they're tired. By week 3, they're in shape, and then we get a truer team. So, yeah, that's 49's about right on that game. Game of the week, KC 647.5 to Joe Burrow. Burrow against Mahomes, the draw. I know, Bobby, you like Mahomes. KC to the 20 defense playing Baltimore, Cincy with the 16 defense playing New England. Pretty bad. I got KC as an A team. I got Cincy as a B team because we know what they are. They had a bad game. I get it. Chase was game time decision. Now Chase will be practicing. They're going to be pissed off. But you're playing KC. And now they got the new guy, Xavier. I don't know what to do with this game, to tell you the truth. 47.5. KC's got a killer defense when they're ready. Cincinnati, I don't know what their defense was doing. You only gave up 16 to New England, but you didn't score. So I don't know what's happening here. I do not believe Burrow will follow that game with another lemon this game. Can they upset him? Yeah. Will they upset him? No. I don't see the upset. But Burrow and Chase can get hot. He did it at LSU, and we'll see. Denver Pitt is 336. Do we have Fields or is Russell Wilson ready? This is a good game for Russell Wilson going back to Denver and telling him to go fuck off, right? Pitt is certainly an under team. Fields can't get him into the end zone. A lot of field goals. Denver will be an over team, I believe. 26 defense, 10 defense for Pittsburgh. We know Pittsburgh's defense of 10 will be there. TJ Watt, but Denver, I think they'll get a little bit better defense. They played Seattle, a pretty explosive team. I look for this game to be they're not going to give up 26 here. I think they played okay. Bo Nix just has to give him 3-4 weeks. I think he'll be fine. Denver, I think, eventually is an over team because of Sean Payton. He's a good coach, good offensive coach. We'll see. We'll see what happens. The Bears against Houston. Did I do Atlanta? Atlanta's Monday. Houston, 6.5, 45.5. Caleb against Stroud. Oh, my God. The Bears with the 17 defense. That makes sense. They're a good defense. Houston, 27. That makes sense. They're not a good defense, even though their coach is a defensive coach. I got Houston as an over team. They're going to score, and they can't stop anybody. I got the Bears as an under. They can't score, and they have a good defense. So that's what I see there. Caleb and Stroud. Um, if Stroud doesn't throw stupid interceptions and block punts, I think Caleb's in for a rude awakening. And our last Monday night game, we got Philly 6.5, 47.5 to Atlanta. And I agree. I would have Penix in there. How many games are you going to give Kirk? Now, Kirk Cousins is a seasoned 10-year veteran. How many games are you going to give him till you realize he sucks? All right. We saw him suck last week. He ain't going to do anything against Philly. Philly's going to blitz him. Philly with a 29 defense because they played Green Bay, who's a very good offense. Atlanta with an 18 defense. And that field was very slippery. If you watch the highlights of that Brazil game, there's players slipping all over the place. So it's probably just painted dirt or whatever. Yeah, good place to have a game in Brazil. And you're worried about getting your players injured, right? So Atlanta didn't do anything against Pitt's defense. Let's see what they do against Philly's defense. Philly's defense, I don't see much of a change, but I think their offense looked a little better with Moore being their offensive coordinator. I think they'll be better. And they're running Shaquan Barkley, I think, will make a huge difference. He got 3 touchdowns. So when you're in the red zone, you got Barkley, you're going to score. So I think Philly is an over team unless they start getting their defense better. And Atlanta clearly terrible, an under. I don't think they have a good defense. But let's say it's okay. They don't have an offense. Not until Penix gets in there. So that's week 2. That's the grades on the team. Again, it's hard. I can't just look at the numbers without incorporating who they played, aka Philly and Green Bay. Both look like over defenses, but they're probably not. Pittsburgh's probably are what they are. So is Atlanta. Uh, Oakland's an under. San Diego probably be an under. Carolina's a Z. New England, now they'll probably be a Z team, but just what they couldn't make an adjustment to attack Sanderson or Stevenson, the running back. They couldn't blitz him and get him down. They were afraid of Brissett. Like, what kind of coaching does Cincinnati have? That's why I don't have any faith that they'll win the game. They could win the game against KC, but I don't see it. I'm not buying it. I ain't smelling what they're cooking. Let's go to college ball. Now, I have fairly good numbers for college, keeping in mind they played high school teams. So we start off with Arizona State, Texas State. Arizona State 1.5, 59.5. This is Thursday's game. Now, I've added a column for offense. So because in pros, we know there's only 32 teams. We watch it Sunday, and they all play each other. They're playing a college team or a Division II team. So we've got Arizona State. They run with a offense 457. Texas State, explosive, a balanced offense of 478. Good quarterback in McLeod. I rank them both as A teams just based on their numbers right now. Arizona State, a 15 defense, played pretty strong against Old Mississippi State last week. Texas State with an 18 defense. Again, they're playing, their division stuff. So we will see. Arizona State, I don't think will end in A, but they do have a good running back, a really good running back, and the quarterback's okay. The question is their defense. Texas State, very good offense, very good quarterback. So we will see what happens here. Kansas against Vegas. This is a very interesting game. Vegas is very good. Kansas 758 here. to Arizona. Arizona, no, they're playing Vegas. That's Kansas State. Kansas. So I got Vegas as an A team, a 10 defense, strong running team, 465 yards a game in offense. When I give you that number, that's the total offense. And Kansas is, I got them as a B. They lost to Illinois 23-17. So they got the 13. They got a 13 defense if I include the first game against the high school team. Weak quarterback, Daniels, and then they're good running. They got a really good runner, 400 yards of offense. This is a real interesting game here. It's in Kansas. Vegas beat Houston 27-7. Then they beat somebody else, but it was a Division I team. So I look at this game as a close game, really. Kansas laying the 7, over under 58. We'll see. I think Vegas. I think they have a good defense, and they're really a running team with a good defense. Where Kansas looks like they're not as strong of offense as they've been. So I'm adjusting in midstream, going, well, Kansas over for 3 years. Now it ain't an over. Their quarterback's not very good. Even he's the one that kept getting hurt, Daniels. Now with Bean, they were great. But with Daniels, he's not very good. Missouri. Arizona against Kansas State. Interesting game here. Arizona's an over team. Great quarterback in Fafita. Kansas State, I got them as an A team. They're more running the ball than passing. 25 defense, Arizona, 16 for Kansas State, which is right on par with them. So again, 758, 58 and a half. I don't think they're going to be able to stop Fafita. And I don't think Arizona's going to stop Kansas State in this game. Michigan, 23 and a half, 47 and a half. What do we do with Michigan? Arkansas State is a good passing team, a 28 defense, but a weak offense. Well, I got them as an over team, but after looking, they played a high school team. Michigan, they're an under team. No offense, good defense normally. Their weakness is going to be against the pass. Arkansas State can pass. Michigan with 275 yards of offense against Fresno State and Texas. All right, they only got 275. Ark State with the 28 defense, Michigan at 21, but they're not playing Mikey Keenan. They're not playing Ewers. It's off of a loss. Michigan will be fired up. This is the variable that you can't put in your formula. People want to analytics this or algorithm it or whatever the fuck. How do you put off of a loss into your formula? And it's a crucial variable to put in your formula. I think Michigan will play a good game. I don't know how their quarterback sucks, so I don't know how they score. I don't think Arkansas State's going to score. I think they'll be lucky to get maybe a touchdown in this game. So I don't know what you do with Michigan because we don't know. But we do know they got USC next week, another loss because USC's looking better. Not that they're great, but they're getting better. Okay. Greg and John, stop with the questions. Michigan. So look for Michigan to be upset after the loss. And knowing they got USC, they have to win this game. So normally they do well when they're playing a weak team at home, normally. This is a great game. North Texas against Texas Tech. Both explosive offenses. We got 9.5, 69.5. And I'd probably think the spread should be 75. North Texas passes 500 yards of offense. Texas Tech passes 500 yards of offense. They played Washington State 33-17. They didn't score, but I don't think North Texas is going to hold them down. North Texas with the 29 defense, Texas Tech with the 44. Both obviously over teams. Very good offense and no defense on this field. This should be up and down the field. The question is 70 points too high? North Texas played Georgia Southern the first. No, they played somebody the first game. It was 100 points, and I got a feeling this will be 100 points. Texas Tech, I mean, they always have somewhat of an off. They have a decent running back also, but they're not going to stop North Texas in this game. Oak State and Tulsa. Oak State 20.5, 62.5. I got Oak State as an over, and I got Tulsa as I don't know what I got Tulsa as. I scratched it out. I think I had an over and then realized that, well, they got a 500-yard balanced offense. Oak State's a balanced offense normally once they start giving Ollie Gordon the ball. Ollie Gordon will score from you when you get into the 10-yard line area. Just give the ball to Ollie Gordon, touchdown. They played a wild game with Arkansas that they were way behind, came back, and won it in overtime, 39-31. Tulsa has a 28 defense. The spread's 20. It's kind of a high spread, Oak State, but we'll see on that. LSU, South Carolina. This is a very interesting spread. I got LSU 750.5. And what the fuck? So South Carolina beats Kentucky, and now they're only 7 to LSU. Is there upset here? South Carolina was a 12 defense because they played Kentucky, and LSU with a 24, and really all they did was play USC. LSU, good passing, good coach. Brian Kelly will light it up. South Carolina, though, is a weak offense. They only get 267 total yards in a fucking game. They're not going to be able to hurt LSU too badly. So I got South Carolina as an under and LSU as an over. So the question is how good is South Carolina's defense? If I take LSU, I only got to lay 1, which is just win the game, which I like those. Do I take South Carolina in 13? I'm not trusting an offense that gets 267. They beat Old Dominion the first week, 23-19. Old fucking Dominion. And then they only got 26 there. How good's LSU's defense? We're not sure. They really just played the SC game, and I think they played some high school team. Over under a 50. I think you determine the over-under determines if you're going to take the points. So if you think it'll be a high-scoring game, you take LSU. If you think it's an under game, you take South Carolina. I don't see South Carolina doing a lot of scoring in this game, and I don't know how they're going to stop LSU from putting up 28 points, if not more. I don't think LSU blows them out, but I don't think South Carolina's all that. And when you don't have an offense against Brian Kelly, you're probably in big trouble there. So a very interesting line. My line on the game was 14, and their line 7. Interesting. Illinois against Central Michigan. Illinois 20-49.5. Line hasn't moved. Illinois is an 18. They just beat Kansas, a good Kansas team, 23-17. And they beat somebody else earlier. They got an 8 defense. They have a balanced offense. Central is a passing offense. They blew out a high school team 66-7 in week 1. And then last week, they got blown out by Florida International. I told you I don't like them as I don't like road favorites anyway. And they lost like 56-10 to Florida International. What the fuck? So again, you got a passing team in Central, kind of. In Illinois, I think it's Altmaier, their quarterback, good defense. Yeah, and we're laying 20. So do you want to lay 14 or do you want to go over under? Very good defense. Central has no defense. Central is a 31, where you could say it's a 56 if you just took the one game. This is where the numbers are skewed because they won 66 nothing against high school and then they give up 56. And so they got a 31 defense when really I would say they have a 56 defense, but that's not accurate either. But Illinois beat Kansas and it's at home. And, I think Illinois gets a W. I don't know if they'll cover, but they probably will shut them out. Alabama against Wisconsin. They played last year in Alabama. This year it's in Wisconsin. Alabama's 16-50.5. Obviously, Alabama's an A team. Balanced offense. They run a lot, 464 total yards with DeBoer. So they're really more of a running team with DeBoer. He realizes that Milrose can't pass. That's the difference and he kept passing. And when you get a quarterback like Milrose, he needed to change it to a running team, and he didn't. But DeBoer, smart enough. With Penix, he's throwing the ball all over the field. And now with Milrose, he's smart enough to go, well, the guy can't throw, we're going to run. And so they're an A team. Wisconsin's an under team. They got Van Dyke, but they're not really doing much. Alabama's got an 8 defense, Wisconsin a 13. I agree with Alabama's. Wisconsin's probably close to that. Like I said, a balanced offense, but not a lot of yards, not a lot of points. They're an under 13 defense. Alabama coming north. Interesting. I think Alabama is much the better team here. But can you run it down Wisconsin's throat? That's not an easy thing to do, is run on Wisconsin. They'll need enough passing. And they were really in a close game with South Florida. It was like 28, and then they scored 2 late touchdowns to make it 42-6 or 4, whatever the score was. So they were struggling against South Florida, and then all of a sudden, the 2 late runs. So it's not really a 42. Well, it's a 42, but really, okay, let's call it a 35-6 game. So we'll see. They'll be up for Wisconsin. Van Dyke, we love, but he doesn't seem to fit into his offenses like he did at Miami that one year. So we will see. I can't see Wisconsin getting a win here. DeBoer's too good of a coach. And he did well going to Oregon last year with Washington. So I don't see them losing. Will it be close? I don't know. I think they win comfortably. It's a hard one. But they're definitely more of a run team. And I doubt they'll get 464 total yards against Wisconsin's defense. Wisconsin is a very strong defensive team. Florida State, Memphis, 6.5, 52. Florida State. How long are they going to go with Uglia Buglia? Florida State has a 292 offense. This is a major college team. Averages 292 yards in offense. Are you kidding me? Memphis, 370. Memphis is an A team with a 9 defense. Florida State's an under team with the 26 defense. Getting blown out by BC. And again, the Uglia Buglia show, not too good. They're 7-point favorites over Memphis. We doubt Florida State's going to score 7, so it's a question of Memphis. What do they do? Florida State's still got a very good defense, so should be a struggle for them. NC State, L Tech, 21.5, 49 for NC State. What do we do with NC State? They just lost to who did they just lost to Tennessee like 80-0. They got our guy Grayson McCall at quarterback from Coastal Carolina, who's really good. L Tech I got as an under team, gives up 17 a game. 300 yards offense, so they don't do much. NC State, right now they're a W. They don't do anything. 36 defense, but that's all because of Tennessee. 333 yards of offense. So, geez, I don't know what to do here because I don't know how good. You think NC State's good, but if they're going to lay 21, I need a team that can score. They should be able to score, but their defense sucks. So I don't know. LTEC's pretty bad, but they are an under. But they're an under in conference. Like NC State should put some points up. Cincinnati, Miami of Ohio. This is a rivalry game. Cincinnati 3.5, 46.5. The game's at Miami of Ohio. Miami of Ohio is a good defensive team. They're an under 13 defense. Cincinnati's an over 27 defense. They had a big lead against Pitt, and Pitt came back and beat them. I don't see Miami doing that. Miami is a little bit of a passing team with 260 total yards of offense. They did play Northwestern. Cincinnati, a balanced offense, 500 yards. I would think Cincinnati would win this game, but this is a rivalry, and Miami of Ohio does win the game quite a bit. So don't be fooled in this one. We will see. Missouri, my team, 17-54 to BC. I got BC as an A team as of now because they did beat Florida State. They have a 7 defense. Missouri hasn't allowed a point yet. They played two kind of weak, they played, Buffalo last week, beat them 38-0. And I think a high school team the first week beat them like 54-0. But they haven't allowed a point. They have a balanced offense. They have a great quarterback in Cook, 445 offense. BC's more of a running offense. Good luck running against Missouri. Excellent team, excellent coach, quarterback, and defense. This is a playoff team. BC, I don't know. Yeah, they beat Florida State. I think it was 28-13. And let me write that in because I didn't write it in after. So my phone's dying, so I'm going to go charge my phone, but I don't need it. I got the lines already written. All right, so I'll go down my order now. Let's see. So we're at Missouri and BC. So BC, how good are they? Again, they beat Florida State, but then everybody's beating Florida State. Again, because of Uglia Buglia. The question is, how many interceptions did he throw that BC walked in with touchdowns, right? Missouri at home, they're laying 17. I just don't think BC can hang with them in this one. Missouri's very talented. Buffalo, 4.5, 45 to UMass. UMass is a Z team with a 33 defense, 350 yards of offense is all they get. Buffalo is an under team, a 25 defense, and they only get 286 yards, but they played Missouri last week. This is where you get screwed up because, when you play in Alabama and Ohio State, you look like you can't even get first downs. But then you go play, North Texas, and all of a sudden you got an offense again. That's another area besides playing the high school team, playing the Alabamas, Georgias, Ohio States, and getting beat 62-0. So that's what we have with Buffalo. They lose 38-0. They did score the first game. Right? UMass is terrible. Buffalo's only laying 4.5, 45. So I got a Z team against an under, which I hate taking the under because they don't score enough to handle the Z team. But I think in this case, you get 1.5. I don't think UMass is going to win the game. Coastal Carolina and Temple. I got Coastal Carolina 17-51, balanced offense, 500 yards for Coastal Carolina. Temple gets a whopping 255. They could be the leader in the clubhouse for worst offense. Temple's the Z team, as we know, a 44 defense. Coastal Carolina is a 24. They're an A team. It's strictly A against Z. I'm shy. I had a 24-point line and the line 17, which I don't understand that. Powerful offense going against the Z team. So, I don't know. Coastal Carolina only laying 7. You can take them down to 11. Yeah, and see, the thing is, you're playing Temple, who has no offense. They have no defense. That's the beauty of the Z team. They're not going to really challenge you, aka Carolina in the pros. What are they going to do? Bryce Young can't even get first downs. He's not gonna frighten you. Not like Brissett. Washington State, really good game. Washington minus 4.5, 56.5. They lost all their players. They both have balanced offenses. Washington with the 6th defense. Washington State 16. Washington's played one game against a weaker team, and Washington State beat Texas Tech pretty good. So I got them as both A teams. Washington laying 4.5 in Washington. It's the apple cart. It's their rivalry. Washington State's had a 16 defense and held Texas Tech. What was the score last week? It was like 37-16. I mean, to hold Texas Tech to 16 points. We will see. The Washington's coach is the Arizona coach, who was very good last year, but he had FIFA. And I don't know who's Washington's quarterback. I'll have to check that out. It's kind of early to really get the quarterback stats, especially if they're playing Division II. This normally is a tease the dog game because it's normally even and it's a rivalry and upsets are easy to happen. So I wouldn't be comfortable with Washington to win. Over under 56.5. Maybe you go under. Maybe you take Washington State in the 10.5. I don't know yet. There's not enough real information to make this pick because Washington, new coach, new quarterback. So who are they? Washington State. I think they still have the same coach. I'm not sure about the quarterback. But should be a good game. This is normally a tease the dog game, but they did handle Texas Tech, but this game's in Washington. Tulane and Oklahoma, very good game here. Tulane's an A team. They were undefeated last year. Willie Fritz goes to Houston. They get another coach. I think they got the Troy coach or something like that, who's pretty good. I said this still should be an A team in the notes. Oklahoma is an under team. They get 300 yards of offense, and Tulane gets 470. They beat a Houston team 16-12 last week. So I'm thinking Houston's becoming Willie Fritz, and they're getting a strong defense. And they don't have the offense yet, but they have this strong defense. Look for Houston under a lot, I think. Oklahoma's laying 13.5, 47.5. They have a 7 defense, but they played Houston 16-12. So let's call them a 12 defense. And Tulane's a 17 defense, but we know how good they are. But again, new coach, the quarterback's on the Packers. I believe he was in the box scores. I don't know if he's still on there. And Oklahoma is, I don't know. They're laying 13.5. I just don't see them covering this. Tulane is an outstanding team. You got the new coach. I think the 16 on Houston. Tulane's got a good defense, and it's just the new coach. This is the early labor pains in college. Is the new coach. We've only seen 2 games. We're not sure. If we had last year's team, I'd be taking the 19 all day. Oklahoma doesn't have a good quarterback and they get 300 yards of offense. When was the last time Oklahoma got 300 yards of offense in the total in 2 games? A&M 4.5, 46.5 to Florida. A&M's an under team. Florida should be a Z team. I'm giving them a W. 24 defense. A&M a 16. A&M's a good running team, I think. Florida, I guess, is a passing team. They're pretty pathetic. A&M minus 4.5, 46.5. You know, you're seeing the Miami game in your head going, oh, they just went up and down the field on them. A&M, you're seeing the Notre Dame game where they didn't score. So how are they going to match up here? That's really the key, right? Will A&M be able to score or shut them down? I guess we'll find out soon enough. Notre Dame, off of the loss to Northern Illinois, I love it. Notre Dame is definitely an under team. They can't score and they have a good defense. They have a terrible offensive coordinator again. 300 yards of total offense. You played Northern Illinois and A&M. Purdue, we have no idea because they played a high school team and then they had the week off. They haven't played yet, anybody. My spread is Notre Dame 14. The spread's 10.5, over under 45.5. What do you do in this game? Well, you don't really know Purdue, but you know Notre Dame, and you know Notre Dame is coming off of a loss. Problem is they got a real weak quarterback and a real weak offense. Sort of like Michigan. That's why they're coming off the losses. When a good team turns bad, it's because they have a shit quarterback. It's always what happens. All of a sudden, where's the quarterback? Look at Florida State. They were really good with Travis last year. Now they got Uglia Buglia. They've lost the 2 games. It's the quarterback, right? You have bad quarterbacks, and you're fucked. Then you turn into under team. So Notre Dame's an under team, 45.5. I mean, maybe go on it. We don't know who Purdue is, but we do know Notre Dame will be pissed here. 10.5. How do you lay 4.5 with these jokers? Nevada, Minnesota, interesting game. Minnesota 16.5, 44. They have more of a passing offense, 300 yards total. Nevada is a balanced offense, 400 yards. They played SMU very good, although SMU didn't look good last week to BYU. Nevada, 25 defense, Minnesota 19. So we know Minnesota's got a really good defense. Nevada doesn't score much, although I think their defense is getting good. They held SMU to 29. That's all I can see. Then they beat like Old Dominion or something. So I think that line's high, 16.5 with Minnesota. I think that's way high. 44 over under. I'd be better if it was 50. I could go under 44. I don't know. But Minnesota doesn't score. And I don't know that they'll light up Nevada, but I think they'll play good defense. Oregon State. Oregon 17, 50.5. We know how strong they were last week against Boise. Oregon State, strong run team, 457 yards of offense. They're both A teams. Oregon State's only given up 7 points. They beat San Diego State 21-0 last week. And Oregon played that Boise game. That was a great game, 37-34. What do you do with this game? Both A teams, the 50.5 total. It's a 17. I don't. Games at Oregon State, I don't really love Oregon laying the points, that many points. I had 10. I would have laid 4, but 17, I don't want to lay 11. Do I trust Oregon State? I don't know. Over or under? I don't know. I'd probably go more over than under, I think, on this. It's at 50. I think over 44 makes more sense than under 56, because with these games can get going, there could be a lot of scoring. So I don't know. West Virginia and Pitt. I have Pitt -7 and the Lions West Virginia -3, 60.5. Pitt came back from Cincinnati 27-7 and won 28-27 or something like that, 29-28. Good comeback. Balanced offense, 500 yards, and Pitt did play Cincinnati. They played a real team. West Virginia is a balanced offense. They got killed by Penn State. West Virginia laying 3, 60.5 in Pitt. 24 defense, West Virginia, 25 defense, Pitt. So all we know is West Virginia got killed by Penn State. Pitt came back for some. I think Pitt can keep it close, and if they need to come back after what they did to Cincinnati. West Virginia, I didn't see any defense when they played Penn State, and they scored a little. They should be a good offensive team. They got their quarterback back and things like that. So we will have to see. This is an even game, I think. All right, let's go through this a little quicker. Miami of Florida, 36.5, 54. 500-yard offense for Miami. Ball State's a balanced team. I got Ball State as an over and Miami as an A. 34 defense for Ball State. Miami a 13. App State 2.5, 60 over East Carr. I got App State an over team, East Carr an under team. Balanced offense for App State. They got murdered against Clemson. They must have had a lot of turnovers because you don't score 66 points with your offense only. East Carolina, a passing team, 461, but I got a weak quarterback. So he's a weak quarterback, but they get a lot of passing yards. 14 defense. So 38 defense because of one bad game versus a 14 with East Carr. So you got to discount Clemson off of a loss, got pissed. And probably it was Clemson's defense that won it. Here's a Z team, Iowa, off of a very shocking loss at the end. Laying 22.5, 38 over under. They're more of a running team. They have that good running back, and Troy gets 265 a game, 265 total yards of offense. They're a Z team, 33 defense. Iowa, we know, strong under team. The question is, do we take Iowa or do we take the under? And the under is actually 38. We could actually go under 44. I'm shocked it's not 31 or 32. I think Iowa shuts them out. I don't see Troy doing anything. They got such a bad coach. Iowa's pissed after the loss. Look for them. It's like, oh, we got Troy. Okay, good. UAB, Arkansas, 24.5, 60. They got a 500 offense versus UAB with a balance. I got UAB as an under and Arkansas as an over. They played a 39-31 game with Oak State in overtime. It was tied at 31. They had Oak State big, and Oak State came back. They woke up. So Arkansas is off of a loss they never should have lost. They don't have a great defense, even though it's a 19. The first game was a high school game, so 39-31. Although, it's not a 39 defense, but UAB, 17 defense. I don't know. Look, Arkansas off of a loss. My Utah team, 20.5, 46.5. I would assume Cam Rising's playing. He's not listed. He's just listed as questionable with his finger. I mean, he hurt his finger on the Kool-Aid or the Gatorade. Utah State's a Z team with a 31 defense, weak quarterback, 350 total yards. 20.5, 46.5. It's simply, if Cam Rising plays, you bet Utah. If he doesn't play, it becomes probably, I don't even know if it's an under team. I'm assuming the 20.5 is assuming Cam Rising's playing and he's not ruled out, not like with the knee, it's just a finger. So I'd be shocked if he doesn't play. They could probably freeze the finger and tape it up, and he's so good. I just don't see him missing. But if the line starts dropping to 16 or 15, yeah, we know what's going on, and then I would say go under. Otherwise, just lay the 20. VTech against Old Dominion. VTech's an over team. Old D's an under team. The line's 14-50. VTech drones, pretty decent quarterback. They lost that heartbreaker to Vanderbilt. Keep an eye on Vanderbilt this year. Old D's a 300 offense, which is nothing. They're that's why they're an under team. They don't get a lot of yards. 50. So you basically got VTech. Old Dominion is in Virginia, by the way. So VTech laying 14. Yeah, I mean, they got that loss to Vanderbilt. They need to win, so we'll see. Liberty plays UTEP. Liberty minus 23.57. UTEP a Z team, 34 defense. They only get 295 a game. Liberty is a team, 24 defense. They get 500 yards a game. They're lane 23 here. This game should get pretty fucking ugly. Connecticut, Duke 1848. Connecticut's actually an over team with a 34 defense, a balanced offense. Duke is an under team, 11 defense. They're pretty much a passing team. They got a new coach, and Connecticut's a balanced team. What do you do with this guy? I don't know. I don't feel comfortable with Duke minus 18, and I don't feel comfortable with Connecticut 24. This is a game you watch. Duke might hold them down. Is Duke really going to blow them out? I don't know. Florida International plays Florida Atlantic in the Florida Bowl. Florida Atlantic minus 643. They're probably a little bit better, although Florida International killed Central Michigan last week. Florida Atlantic lost to Michigan State the first week, 16-10. Then Childs got better. State's going to get a lot better with the Oregon State coach. Florida Atlantic under team. So it's 6-43. Florida Atlantic. Florida Atlantic, an under team with a 20 defense, only gets 242 yards. Now, again, they did play Michigan State, who's not Alabama. Florida International is an E team, a 24 defense, and they get 200 yards a game. So neither team gets 250 yards a game, and they're going to play themselves. How Florida International put up 50 points on Michigan State and still has a 200 average is crazy. This is rivalry game. Just looking at it, neither team can move the ball, but Florida International moved the ball last week, so I don't understand this. Oh, okay. They played Central. Where is that game? $52-16 for Florida International. How do they only average 200 yards a game? Who did they play the first week? They lost 31-7 to Indiana. So Indiana must have a really strong defense, which is good because we're coming up to the Indiana game. So again, to kind of, how good are their defenses? And it should be, this is probably a tease the dog game, just a rivalry. Neither team's great. They both don't get a lot of points, but Florida International did score a lot last week. They probably have the better offense. The defenses are probably equal. Who knows? Mississippi, Wake Forest. Mississippi laying 24-64, 600 yards of offense versus Wake Forest, 550 yards of offense. Wake Forest, I have as an over team. So Mississippi 24-64. We know they're an over team. Well, they're an A. They haven't given up, but they haven't played anybody. Wake beat Virginia, I think, last week. 22 defense. Mississippi's 3 is not real. 64 over under and 2 strong offenses. That's why the 64. So, yeah, I probably think it'll get there, but we will see. Now, I haven't made any picks yet, so if I'm giving you analysis, what I see from the teams, so that's a whole different thing than making the picks. South Florida, Southern Miss. South Florida is an A team, 11-57.5, mostly a running team, pretty explosive. And Southern Miss is under team, 216. So, minus 11. Southern Miss is really a bad team here, 57.5. So, they should handle Southern Miss. UTSA against Texas. Texas minus 35-53. Texas is an A team. We just saw them beat the hell out of Michigan. Lane 35. UTSA is terrible. They're a W. 33 a game on defense. Texas 6. UTSA gets 300 total yards. Texas strong passing with viewers 420. But that includes the Michigan game, and because then it averages. So if you're 420 after playing Michigan or Ohio State or US or UCLA or something, you're got a pretty good offense. So again, an A against a W. Does Texas do they relax after beating Michigan is the only question. Vanderbilt, Georgia State. Vanderbilt's an A team. Georgia State's a W. Vanderbilt's minus 10, 46.5. 14 defense for Vandy at 28 for Georgia State. Vandy's a balanced. We know Pavia. They went to Virginia Tech, who's good. Here's Georgia State. Georgia Southern is the good Georgia. Georgia State's not. They're more of a passing team. Look for Daggio Pava to have a good game. Jacksonville State against Eastern. Eastern's 1.5, 52. The game's at Eastern. Jacksonville State's a Z team with a 52 defense and a 300 yards of offense. Eastern, an under team, gives up 22, 240 yards of offense. I mean, it's just pathetic. 240 yards, decent. Jacksonville State, so bad. I can't believe this spread's only 1.5. That doesn't make any sense. Kennesaw State, San Jose State. We've got San Jose State laying 19. 44 is the total. Kennesaw State's a Z team with a 31 defense. They get 229 yards of offense. San Jose State's an A team. They get 337 passing. They did shut out Air Force 17-7, as I thought. They have the old Navy coach, and they're not going to be that explosive, but they're going to have a great defense. Hawaii, Sam Houston, 4.5, 50. Hawaii's not bad. They've held UCLA 16-13 or so. So is it UCLA that bad, or Hawaii had a pretty good defense? 305 yards for Hawaii, but again, because they played UCLA, they couldn't score. They were getting sacked a lot. Here against Sam Houston, I look for them to be more in the 400s throwing the ball. Sam Houston's an E team with 30 defense, 300 yards of offense. Sam Houston's 4.5-point favorites. I can't understand that. I had Hawaii -7. I don't see them holding Hawaii down. Hawaii certainly can move the ball and score, and then they seem to have a pretty good defense. I think the better team here is Hawaii. Western Kentucky, Middle Tennessee. Western Kentucky 7.5, 54. Great passing team. Right now they're a W because they played Alabama and got killed. They're a 32 defense, which we know is not true. Middle Tennessee's a Z team with a 39 defense and only 300 yards of offense. Yeah, I mean, Western Kentucky should get the W. Colorado State. Colorado's -758. Oh, we know all about them. It's all Prime Junior passing the ball. Got crushed by a good defense in Nebraska. Good luck. Good news. Colorado State doesn't have a good defense. They should be able to move up and down the field. I have Colorado State as a Z team. They beat a high school team and got killed by Texas. So you really don't know. 302 yards. Again, it's impossible to tell because they played Texas how good they are unless they beat Texas. Like Northern Illinois, they played Notre Dame, but they won the game. So they move up 3 spaces. Colorado, after this loss, I just think Colorado should be able to move the ball on Colorado State, but they can't stop the win. Colorado State played them tough last year. So I don't know. You could maybe go over, maybe take Colorado off the loss. Who knows? It's all up to Prime. Prime needs to go out and play. The Air Force and Baylor. Air Force, strong defense. Baylor's 15.5-point favorites, 41.5. Air Force gets 217 total yards, but they did play San Jose State, who had their number. Baylor played Utah, and they look bad. Finn looks kind of weak. I think Air Force has the edge because Finn will try his option moves, and Air Force will be all set for him. They usually have a good defense. Baylor a 300 offense again, but they just played Utah. So this is the problem so early. You play a good team and you play a high school team, your averages are all fucked up. You can't. How do you read the team? You got to go, and then if they play in Alabama or Texas or Michigan, or you have no idea how to read them because, oh, yeah, they got 200 yards of offense. Then they play a high school team. They get 500 yards of offense. You're like, fuck. The difference is they get to the quarterback. All right, here's my team, Georgia, 24-46 over under. Obviously, Georgia's the best team. They're the A team. They've given up 3 points. Balanced offense, dominating. Kentucky is an under team. Scored a whopping 6 on South Carolina. Their defense stinks. Their weak offense, 240 yards of offense. Roll Dogs. Very good game. UCF, TCU. UCF 1.5, 61. Both are A teams, both very explosive. UCF a 14 defense, TCU 27. Now, UCF is mostly a run team, 400 yards a game. TCU is more of a pass, like 300 yards a game passing. They played Stanford to a 61, 34-27. I had that over week 1. UCF is a very strong team also, strong offense, strong running. They got Bobby's favorite quarterback, KJ Jefferson. It's only 1.5, and it's at TCU. So do I take TCU, or then there's the over of 61. So that's what we have. We got Old Mississippi State at home against Toledo. Toledo 11.5 and 60. Toledo's an A team with a 16 defense. They get 314 a game. Old Mississippi State's an A team. The 19 defense passing. They did lose to Arizona State last week, and that score was 30-23. So the defense is okay. They should handle Toledo over under 60. I don't know. It's hard because when you start looking at the numbers and you see a 300, you're going, well, they're not going to score a lot, but they played Alabama, they played Ohio State. So it's not, you're looking for teams that play normal teams. New Mexico and Auburn, interesting game. New Mexico lit up the first week. Who do we have? That was our play. Who did they play? New Mexico. Oh no, that was Alex played that, or no, somebody played that over and had to come from behind, or that was Northwestern State. Anyway, New Mexico scored a lot. Auburn lost to Cal 21-14. Maybe Cal's got a defense. Again, we don't know yet, but we'll keep an eye on it. Auburn's an under team with a 21 defense. This line's Auburn 28 and 61's a total. New Mexico balanced offense. Auburn's more of a passing, although it didn't show last week. New Mexico with a 48 defense. Jesus, man, they got blown out. And Auburn's a 21. So don't know what to say here. I think that line's awfully high, 28. 61 might be all right. Now, our another game of the day, Indiana, UCLA. At UCLA, I have UCLA -7. The spread's Indiana -3 and 46. After looking at Indiana's dominance, I think I understand why. UCLA is an under team, giving up 13. Indiana's an A team. They've only given up 7. They beat Florida International, and then last week was a high school game. And so 3 and 46. Do you take UCLA as a home dog? UCLA is probably never a home dog, except for to USC. Indiana's got to fly to the West Coast and then basically win by at least 10 over UCLA. I don't know. I don't like UCLA's quarterback. I don't think the coach is ready to make adjustments. We'll see. The defense looked okay. We'll see what happens in this one. Again, you need to learn. Kent State and Tennessee. Tennessee just put up 100 on NC State in a game that should have been in NC State and ended up being at Tennessee. So real strange. Tennessee in this game is laying 48 with a total of 62. Kent State's terrible. They're a Z team. 39 defense. Tennessee with the 7. Tennessee's going to put up 70 points in this game. They got the new quarterback, and they're trying to get him out there. Balanced 500-yard offense for Tennessee and a whopping 242 for Kent State. Total mismatch in this game. The question is, do you take Tennessee or do you take the over? You're not going to get a lot of help from Kent State in either spot, so we will see. We've had this before with Ohio State and Utah last week. Where do we want the team or the over? Fortunately, we won those games, but again, you're dealing with. They're not gonna. Kent State's not going to help you offensively. That's what you're dealing with. So it's all Tennessee, but you're laying 48 points. Mary and Virginia, Mary 357.5. They're both B teams. 20 defense for Maryland, 22 for Virginia. Balanced offense for Maryland, more of a pass for Virginia. They beat, I think they lost or beat Wake Forest by 1. Maryland had the lead against Michigan State. Michigan State won it. So Maryland, again, has no defense, and Virginia doesn't look like they have much. So should be a good game. I'm surprised Maryland's favorite. I had Virginia by 3. They got Maryland by 3. I think they were a live dog, Virginia. Rice and Houston. Now Willie Fritz. Houston's -4, 44. Houston's getting 200 yards of offense because they're probably not trusting their quarterback. and they played Oklahoma 16-12 last week. Rice, I got as an A team, 20 defense, balanced offense, but I don't show huge numbers. This should be an interesting. And now Rice is in Houston, so this is basically a rivalry game. This is not what you have in the NFL. Houston's and Rice's as rivalry games. Oh, excuse me. So, I mean, we'll have to see how good Rice is. They got Kurt Warner's kid. Houston should start getting better, but looks like they're going to have a killer defense. BYU, Wyoming, BYU 10.5, 39. Passing offense, Wyoming, a Z team, a 32 defense, only 176 yards a game. I think they win. The lowest offense. BYU's an A team. They beat SMU pretty good. They're laying 10.5, 39. Again, Wyoming with the 32 defense. They are at home. They got killed by Arizona State, and they lost another one. We'll see. I think BYU's should be able to handle Wyoming, but we'll see. You don't know because when Wyoming's at home, they're a better team, and all the teams are. New Mexico State, Fresno State, and we got one more after this. Fresno State, 19, 47.5. Mikey Keene, good passing team, had trouble with Michigan, but they almost won it. If he doesn't throw the pick six for 90 yards, it's 2017. They could have won the game. New Mexico State, even team, a 23 defense, 261 yards. Fresno State looks like minus 19, 47.5. They should win, especially after losing to Michigan. They need the win. They're a good team, good quarterback. I don't think New Mexico State's all their players left, so they're in big trouble. And last but not least, Cal and San Diego State. Cal minus 18.5, 47.5. Just beat Auburn, 21-14. San Diego State and Cal with a 13 defense, and you saw it last week. San Diego State 17. Cal 300 yards a game offense. San Diego State 324. So it's 18.5 and 47.5. But I think we know what to do with that. That is week 3 of college football. There's just so many games. You got to go through them. Hey, Pat. The tamp downs for Meadows are getting bought quickly. Yeah, well, I noticed they pop back up. But yeah, I mean, we know that. I mean, and it's more they're doing it. I think it's Europe. I think it's London doing it because at 9 o'clock, at 8 o'clock before the U.S. Open, it tanked. When the U.S. Open, it didn't tank. It went back up. But yeah, let me just finish this and we can talk a little economics. So the hard part now is we've gone through the games and there's so many games and you're kind of circling, taking notes, starring, going, yeah, I like this one. I like this one. And then you kind of narrow it down. Okay, I like 20 games and now I got to get down to 10. And then I got to get down to, is there a lock? Do I love a game? Normally I want to lock against Z teams or the dogs in the A versus A. So that's what I'm looking for now. Okay, now I'm comfortable. What do I bet on? And so that's why I grade the teams. I want to bet against Z teams who have no offense. That's what I'm looking to do with a good team. Like the Buffalo game against UMass, they're not a good team, Buffalo. They're an under at this point. They might be a better team later, but they're an under team. And UMass stinks, but I don't trust Buffalo's good. But now if I get to, an explosive team like a Texas or USC or somebody against the Z team, I'm more apt to lay the 30 points because I know they're going to score a ton. And so that's what I go through. So now I'm going to mark I'm going to go take the giant view down to this view of, okay, these are the games that I like, but which ones do I want to bet on? And then which ones do I want to give you, and which one's a lock, and which one's your free play? And so I want to get the best ones, right? Which is the best game here? And that's where I'm going to. Oh, I could bet this team, but wait, this game's better. You know, like last week, um, I took Cincinnati in the NFL, but I should have, well, obviously, I could have taken Buffalo over or New Orleans, who I like pretty much the same. But I was so excited with Joe Burrow playing New England. How can they lose? I mean, that was the method. So being week one, that's how they can lose. So let's see what they do with KC. So that's where we go. So now next phase. So I'm looking. I've added yards. Who's the 200-yard games, and here's 500-yard teams. Then I'm looking at quarterbacks. I have all that in my spreadsheets. I'm looking who's a good quarterback. So if I see a quarterback with 2 touchdowns and 5 interceptions, I'm not betting him. I'm betting against him. I'm looking for the quarterback with 6 touchdowns and 0 interceptions. And there's some of those. A lot of them don't have anything. The running ones don't, and you don't pick it up. So there's teams where there's a team I'm thinking of. They didn't score a lot, but the quarterback's a runner. I don't know, one of these dual quarterbacks, right? So doesn't give you the whole picture. I've got sacks in there just for Prime Junior. How many? He's got 6 sacks in 2 games so far. Games off of a loss. Will Colorado beat Colorado State? It's probably the 1 or 2 games they can win. I don't think they can win too many in the Big 12. So they're probably going, yeah, this is a game we can win. We got killed by Nebraska. Let's win it. And you got Michigan off a loss. You got Iowa off of a loss. Notre Dame off of a loss. How valuable is that? Are those picks? Look ahead. Michigan's got USC next week. That's a loss. So, you got a lot going on there. So that is football. No, I don't have time for baseball. No desire. I'm into football now, and it takes so much out of me. I got to recharge. I'll go to the pool shortly. I do have some for economics videos I want to show you. So our gold price is 25.15. We're hanging in there. 2 o'clock, 121. Yeah, it's 121 now. Silver 28.63. We know it's going to explode. We know it's price fixed. So we can't get frustrated. All I can say is just, go buy 10, go buy 20, go, still I put my money on the gold versus that, but it's still, you want to buy, you don't want the silver to slip. So to understand this, you don't want to be holding this. That's why you buy the gold and silver. Like the guy who thinks it's a rock has no idea that this is going to 0, or he ignores it for some reason, or he's just trying to sell his mutual fund and his stocks. He's a financial, planner or advisor or something, who's killing all his customers are about to lose everything, and he won't admit gold's real money. He thinks it's a rod, it's nothing. And as I said, well, this is paper. This. If you look at what it's made out of, doesn't make it the value. The value on a Picasso doesn't come because it's a piece of paper that some guy, painted on. It's because it's a Picasso and the demand's there. And that's where the value comes from. just like the Rolex, just like the Mantle card, and just like gold and silver. The demand is there because it's something that's limited that people want. It's simple economics. That's what it is. The demand is what creates it. If there's no demand for your dollar, as there isn't any, the value of this goes to zero because there's no demand. However, if you have demand for something, then gold, he doesn't think gold has a value, but if people are buying gold and the value goes up, he says, well, gold doesn't go up in value. Does a Mantle card go up in value? Does a Rolex go up in value? So what the fuck are you talking about that gold doesn't go up in value? If there's more demand for the gold and we kill COMEX and get to a free market where you're selling it and I'm going to buy it and we'll get to a price and that price keeps going up based on demand, like in Ohio State, Oregon tickets that Luke's brother does. If more people want that game and more people want those tickets, the price goes up. That's economics, Austrian economics, right? So the prices are controlled by the market, which says if everybody wants this, then the price goes up. If nobody wants the dollar, they're all dumping, the price goes down. There's the hot girl at the bar everybody wants, and then her price goes up. And if nobody wants her, she sits there, please buy me a drink. So that's how economics works. It's based on prices are set by the market based on if the stronger the demand, the higher the price. And don't tell me gold does not have a real price. Then you're out of your mind. You don't know what you're talking about. All right. So there's a few videos I want to show you. Well, I thought I liked them. I know I watched some videos and like, where the hell did they go? All right, so we have this one: China to dump $1 trillion in U.S. assets, which is just they're selling their treasuries because they're saying because of the rate down of the treasuries. So if Powell lowers the rate on the Feds from 5.5 to 5.25, whatever, on the Fed's funds rate, then that will make the dollar even worse because there'll be more inflation and you can't, well, there really won't be more inflation, the money's printed, but it's just it's going to make it worth less, the bonds, because the rate goes down anyway. So China's just going to dump, really they just want to buy gold, but they're dumping it, so they're dumping all our assets, which they should. Foreclosure update, which means that people can't afford their houses. Basically, I don't know. Let's read this.
Anyone with $10,000 or more in credit card debt or personal loans may qualify for help from National Debt Relief. Minimum.
I've been effectively unemployed for over a year. I've had to resort to taking my Social Security.
He's reached the conclusion that being foreclosed upon is his best option.
rather than live month to month worrying about my survival, I have decided that the better course is to walk away from this home.
Leading data providers on foreclosure and mortgage delinquencies like Black Knight and ATTOM are stating that right around 2 million households are behind on their mortgage. However, when we dig deeper and when we look at the survey from HUD and we bring out a calculator, because HUD does not calculate this for us, we find that over 4.5 million people are behind on their mortgage right now. And then when we add households that are renting that are also behind, we have a total of over 10 million households around the nation that are behind on their mortgage. And think of the big.
So what that means is the banks all get fucked because, as I have explained, I get deposits in, which I gotta give them interest 3 or 4%, or they won't. Why would they give me money? And so then I loan out their money to people, and I'm going to get 7% on their money and give the guy who gave me the deposit, here's your 3%. And I'm, as a bank, I make 4%. That's how a bank, that's their revenue, is these loans they give out. If 10 million people are behind on their loans, now it doesn't mean they're defaulting, but if they're behind on them, what's the bank going to do? They're not getting in money from 10 million people who have got loans out on mortgages on their house. The banks are going to start falling, and that's because they're not getting. It's like a store. It's like when I show you these Chinese pictures, and they're all bankrupt, right? And there's no business. And I say, well, if there's no customers, you got to go out of business because you got to pay your expenses. You need so many customers, and that's the problem. So they're not doing that, and therefore it's going to be murder on the banks because they're going to have a lot of defaults. That's why you keep your money out of the bank. I'm a little concerned about these banks that are closing up their offices. I guess they'll keep the ATMs open or something, but basically, like Bank of America, you won't be able to go into the Bank of America anymore because they're closing all their banks. I don't know all of them, but a lot of them. What if I got $500? I guess I can ATM it, but what if I get in $1,000? I want to get the money. What do I do? I guess I use my debit card to do stuff that I would prefer to get the cash for. But that's a problem, right? So I get my mom's trust. She gives me 30 grand. Well, how am I going to get the 30 grand if the bank's closed? Now my bank's still open. And I ask them, and they just give me, I don't know, like they're all idiots. Like I don't know what's going on, right? Don't fuck with the professor. I know what's going on. So we'll see. You'll see bank branches close because the rent's too expensive. They're not making enough money. But you want the loan department open because they need the loans to get revenue in. So I don't know if they'll all close too much, but that's Bank of America. But anyway, if all these people default on their mortgages, that means the banks get fucked. They got to go out of business because they're not getting revenue in. Now, will they bail them out? Well, it's like the bank bailing themselves out because they run the government, the banks. So they're going to say, yeah, give me a bailout. And they'll give them the bailout, but I don't know what with, because the money's not worth anything. So yeah, I'll print you $10 billion of garbage, and you figure out what to do with it. So you have all that. So what's going to happen to the housing values? They're going to drop because these people. Now, the guy we saw for the first 30 seconds, why doesn't he just sell his house? Get out of the house, move into an apartment. I don't know. He's got assets and value in the house. So what you're going to see is people like him selling the house at whatever they can get because of the interest rates being high. The housing values are really a combination of the flat rate plus the interest rate. So if it's $700 plus 8% interest, is $1,000 a month. They're just pulling numbers out. So this guy can't afford it because he can't find work. Well, the recession is here, and a lot of people are going to lose their jobs. So sell your house. Well, what happens when you dump all these houses on the market? The prices go down, and who's going to buy them? Nobody. There's your housing market crash. And the same thing's going to happen with stocks. So what's this guy do? Let's say he owns 1,000 shares of Amazon. He's trying to pay his house. What's he going to do? Well, I'm going to sell my Amazon stock because I'm not working and I need to pay my house. Well, multiply that by the 10 million, and there goes the stock market because everybody's dumping. And the foreigners are going to dump their stocks because they need money. See, people are using stocks as their asset instead of gold, and that's a big mistake. The stocks are going up. It's all bullshit. It's all made off. It's not real. When I was looking at stocks yesterday, Bank of America, JP Morgan is like $400 a share. I'm like, but they're going to go broke. People can't afford to pay them. Why would those banks be so high? It's unbelievable. And this is the problem. People don't know what they're doing, and they go to their financial advisor, like the pet rock guy, and he tells them to go into mutuals, and they go in, they listen to the idiot. And it's unfortunate people are just not taught. It's not that they're stupid. They're a little closed-minded, or they can't find people like me, which is my guess, because I'm very rare. So you can't find somebody like me to explain the gold and the stocks and the houses. And so you go to a guy like this other idiot, the pet rock guy, and he says, oh, no, you don't want to own gold. You want to be in the market. Look, since 1900, how much the stocks have gone up and the gold. And he takes the high point in 1980 when it was 800. And he says, oh, look, why don't you take when it was 1971 was $35 an ounce for gold. And now it's 25. Look at the return you get if you take the whole thing instead of taking when it's spiked up. Now you're going to take the spike. We'll do the same thing with the stock market then. Take the spike and then look at it. Or Bitcoin, it was 70,000, it's now 50. Or you can say it was $5 and now it's 50,000. There's many ways to skin a cat, let's say. So that's what they're doing. So we know gold, we know bricks coming out in October, and we're excited about that. There's a conference in St. Petersburg in September, so it's probably in the next week or so, and we'll see about that. And it's supposed to, it's a financial thing with BRICS, and then BRICS will roll out. I like how Trump's saying, "Oh, if you de-dollarize, we're going to sanction you." Buddy, if we de-dollarize, it's because we don't want to use the dollar. And don't act like there's no other currencies. All the other currencies are in the same boat. They're all worthless. Don't think we need the US dollar, and we certainly don't need the US dollar to buy from you. We can still buy from you with whatever dollar we have. We don't have to use US dollars. When I'm in Europe, I use my credit card. Do you want to use euros or dollars? I said, I don't care. I can still buy with my credit card. So if you got a credit card and you come from Germany, you can still buy goods and services here. So I don't know what the hell the guy was talking about. But Trump has no power saying, well, I'm going to sanction you or I'm going to tariff you. This is the big thing now, the tariffs. Tariffs don't work. They're terrible. Smoot-Hawley tariff it didn't cause the Great Depression. It caused the stock market to crash. The Great Depression was caused by FDR and his idiotic government spending and taking people's gold and causing terrible economies. That's the Depression was done by the government, by FDR. And so what you have now, if you want to use tariffs and say, I'm going to 100% tariff you, then who cares? Okay, I won't, it doesn't hurt the country selling to the U.S. as much as it hurts us, because I want Canadian Club. And if it's free trade, I can buy it for $40, let's say. If you start tariffing it at 100%, it's going to cost me $150 to buy it. Guess what? I'm not going to buy it. So it hurts the consumer. That's why you want free trade. It's beneficial to the consumer. You can buy neat things in different parts of the world at good prices because there is no tariff on it. Why would you tariff it? You're hurting us by putting a tariff on it. You're not hurting the countries. Will just sell somewhere else. As gold becomes more valuable, people will have gold and buy the goods that were coming here. They'll buy them in China or Russia or India or Saudi Arabia, wherever. They'll buy the goods there. But the key is to have a strong dollar. And we're not the reserve currency. It doesn't mean anything. You're still printed the fucking dollar, 150 trillion, and they're starting to come back. China dumps $1 trillion in assets. India, Japan dumped. They're all dumping, and so what do you that all that comes back is just more and more dollars, which is more and more inflation. So we're all fucked with the inflation. So to get off the boat, we get on the gold lifeboat and the silver lifeboat. That's your only out. There is no other out. Don't tell me it's a rock. Don't tell me it has no value. We all know, understanding economics, the more demand and the less supply, which is gold and silver, the bigger the price. So don't fuck around with us. We know what the real truth is, right? We know that's how it works. We see it in Rolex. We see it in Montana and Mantle cards. If it's very limited and there's a high demand, the price goes up. And why would you hold dollars that are not limited and the demand's going down? Nobody wants it. 159 countries want to join BRICS. They don't want to use the dollar. They it's a military weapon. They go, we'll loan you this money, but there's conditions tied to it. So it becomes very, very poor. So they don't want to deal with it. And basically, the way the U.S. has done it, there's no other strong dollar. The euro and the British pound are conceivably strong in the FX market, but they're not. Nobody's running to the euro. But don't say the euro is going to be the reserve currency. The BRICS gold-backed currency is going to be the reserve currency. It's fucking gold. It's what everybody will want and trade in. They can't dump the dollar because there's nowhere else to go because all the other dollars are shit. So you're getting out of the shit for the gold. So why would you not want gold? So gold is it's the key to everything. We'll be fine in gold. And when they go to a gold standard, wherever it is, we'll just move there. And, the U.S., if they had gold in your Fort Knox, I'm not seeing it. I just then prove it. Why would you not? If you ask me, well, Howard, do you really buy silver? And I go, yeah, see, I really buy silver. I prove it because that's what I said. If I said I buy it, I show you I buy it. So if you really have gold in Fort Knox, why wouldn't you show it? What are you afraid of? Here, we'll take, whatever. Secretary of Treasury, he's got a cam and there, look at all our gold. I'm in Fort Knox. How hard is that to do? Because you don't have any gold. It's all China's gold in Fort Knox. Just like the Federal Reserve in New York, it's not our gold. It's the other country's gold. Just watch Die Hard 3. It's all these other countries have gold there. And not a lot. From that movie, from Die Hard 3, it was like maybe probably 2-3 tons. I mean, it wasn't like thousands of tons. I mean, we see Money Heist, there's 90 tons, right? And we see how much that is. And in the Federal Reserve, I didn't see 90 tons of gold in the whole thing. So keep that in mind. As long as there's demand, everybody will be chased out of the dollar because it's worthless, and they'll start realizing it. And then there's nowhere else to go but gold and silver, and that's where you'll be. So they're keeping the price down, and we know that. So get the hell out. What else do we have? The world economic collapse. Europe is next. Europe's already gone. What are they kidding us? All the countries are gone. Let's listen to Egon.
More than $2 quadrillion in debt. Do you think this is going to be the move that blows up the derivatives?
Fundamentally, markets should have crashed a long time ago. Technically, it's a better way of actually determining what's going to happen. And technically, it looks clear to me that we are going to see a 30% or so fall in markets in the next 1 to 2 months. So that's the first fall, but that's just the beginning. You know, I've been saying, and I'm absolutely certain that's going to happen, markets will fall in real terms by at least 90 to 95% in coming years. There is no money anymore. The money that is printed is going to make zero difference because there's nothing that can drive the world forward. And all the decisions that politicians have taken on top of that, the economy will crash a lot faster. Whether this process will take a few months or it will take 3, 4, 5 years, I don't know. But the world is going to see a collapse that never seen before in history. And there's absolutely no remedy whatsoever.
Do you know what happens when a food crisis hits?
No remedy because you printed the money to death. So I was showing you this one yesterday of China. People are trying to withdraw $50,000 and most of the money's fake. It's for the tellers to practice on, and it says this isn't real money, but they're doing it like one of these con shows where, you know, you get a bundle of dollars, and then just the top bill is like a 20, and then all the rest are newspaper clippings. That's what China's doing. China's broke. They're fucked up bad, but they have gold. They got 65,000 tons. Russia with about 20, and then India and Saudi Arabia probably 5,000 or 6,000 tons. Everybody joining BRICS needs gold to join. It's sort of like the dues, right? You got to pay the dues to join BRICS, and that's so they keep buying and buying. That I showed you this yesterday. This idiot guy calling, basically saying gold was no good. And we just tortured that guy. Here in Beijing, 1 million eateries and hotels close. So big problems in China, right? Why? Because there's no customers. I can't open a business if I get, let's say I wanted to repair cars, but I got no customers. So it's a stupid business, right? Well, you think it's a good business because of the cars, but something like that. If I want to open a restaurant, I'm expecting customers. If I get no customers, I got to close. So I got to find out what the demand is. And then, but if I don't get customers, so 1 million eateries and hotels close in Beijing and Shanghai is because nobody's coming to them. They're probably higher level restaurants and hotels. Nobody can afford them. So the people aren't coming and they have to close because they still have expenses. So if you owe $1,000, you're expecting to get 2,000 in to pay it. But if you don't get anything in and you still have your $1,000 in expense every month, guess what? You gotta close up shop if you're not getting customers. So China's in really bad shape. So they will go to a gold-backed currency soon. They will have no choice to survive. They're making all these deals. They made a $10 billion deal with Saudi Arabia to make a few chemicals and IT stuff. Now that should put people to work. Saudi Arabia's got money. They got oil money. China's got all the gold. So it's a mystery to me. Russia, they got to pay for the war. So the war is very expensive on both sides, to the U.S. and to China and to Russia. So we have no money. I mean, this is absolutely worthless. However, you can still go to Kroger's and you can still go travel and still use credit card or this. People will still take it. I don't know how and when that ends. There'll be a point where they won't take it anymore. There'll be a point when I'll go to the gold store with, $1,000 of crap, and the guy's going to say, we don't take dollars anymore. right? That's going to happen. That's why I keep going. Buy as much as you can now, because you're not going to be able to find it, and certainly not at this price. And that's why I say it. I do keep a little bit of cash as much as I can. I buy gold and silver because that's where we're headed, right? We're seeing, we're playing chess. We're 5 moves ahead of the game, and that's where we're headed. You can see it. You can see all the examples, the Romans and the French and the English and Venezuela and Zimbabwe and Germany. You can see it all went north, and that's the problem. And so we understand that's where they're at, and all you can do is know where you have to get to. You have to get to gold and silver. What I don't want is like Luke's friend who's got $4 million in a 401k thinking he's fine. He ain't fine. It's about to go to monopoly money. So instead of cashing out 3 million of it to buy gold and silver, what's the worst that can happen? The gold and silver is not going anywhere. They're going up. They're not going to zero. It's impossible. They're only going up because of all the demand in the BRICS countries. They all are buying gold. And so why do they buy gold? How come they're not buying Bitcoin or dollars? They're dumping their dollars as quick as they can, and they're buying gold as quick as they can because the price is cheap, 25 something, and they don't want anything else because they know gold is real money. And so you could buy Picassos and Rolexes, but they're not money, but they have a value, and they're not going to lose their. If you have a Rolex for 100 grand, you're not going to lose. It's not. It'll be priced in gold versus priced in dollars. Everything priced in this will go to zero because this won't have a value. So your $400,000 house goes to zero because it goes to zero in dollars because this doesn't exist anymore. You fucked it. You made it worthless. So with that in mind, well, what happened to my Rolex or my house? Well, we'll buy it. We'll use gold to buy it. Oh, okay, fine. And what's gold's value? Well, gold's value is going to be a house or a Rolex. That's what gold's value is going to be. And when people need money because they're starving because they can't eat or they got to go to the soup kitchen or whatever the fuck the government's going to do, they fucked us all. But we can fuck them back by buying gold and silver. So that's really where you're at, what you're looking for, and that's the key to it. So you're 5 steps ahead. You're buying the gold and silver now while it's available and cheap. That's all you can do. I did show this thing on Andy Scheckman. I actually found something he was useful with, explaining if we get taxed. Let me find it. I like so many videos because I want to show you. Here's the $100 billion deal with Saudi Arabia and China. So that's instead of 100 billion with the U.S., that money is going from China to Saudi Arabia. Oh no, I think it's going to China. Saudi Arabia wants things built by China. Where is this video? Here it is.
In the wake of a recent executive order, while America was distracted, A few things that people.
All right. So what this is Andy Scheckman saying when you're going to have to pay taxes on your gold and silver, which is what everybody's question is. Okay, I got it. Now I want to sell it. Am I going to have to pay taxes? Basically, no. Basically, you got to sell like 25 ounces of gold or silver or something to get taxed. So just sell 24, he says. So let's watch this.
Ask over and over to get it go over real quick. There, report purchases, report selling back. How does that work?
There's no reporting on purchases at all, ever. The only time there would be reporting would be if you paid with cash in excess of $10,000, like green cash, like
as opposed to blue cash,
you know, in excess.
Oh, you mean U.S. dollars?
$10,000, or multiple money order or cashier's checks under $10,000 each. Like you could do a cashier's check for $1 million, no reporting. But if you did, 1,000, checks at $9,000 each, you're going to get reporting or in cash. But it's important to understand that that's retail law in this country. Well, if you went to that welding store and you paid with $11,000 and $100 bills, they're supposed to issue you a Form 8300. If you go and buy, you go buy your whole family a new wardrobe at Nordstrom's and pay with cash, you get a Form 8300. That would be the same thing here. So, it's not just specific to precious metals. So you pay with a check or a wire or an e-check, there is zero in the form of dealer reporting. When you sell back, there are some things that trigger reporting. Let's go over them real quick. In gold, there are 3 coins and then bars. Bars in excess of 1 kilogram, 32.15 ounces in one trade, right? So if you had, 100 1-ounce gold bars, if you sell me 32, I don't need your social. You sell 33, I do. Now, in theory, you would never want to call the dealer and say, I got 100 bars and I'm not reporting any of it, so I'm going to, break it up. You don't want to say that. But you could call a dealer and say, hey, I got 32 1-ounce gold bars. I'd like to sell them. You call back a few days later. Hey, I'm going to sell another 32. You call back a few days later. I'm going to sell another 32. Legal, completely unrelated transactions. Don't tell the dealer what I don't want to know that you're trying to avoid reporting. And I just don't. And that's not you shouldn't give that onus to the dealer. Instead, if you sell under 32.15 ounces in one time in bar form, then no 1099 is filed. The coins that would trigger it on the 25th ounce, Krugerrands, Maple Leafs, and 50 pesos. That's it. Gold Krugerrands, gold Maple Leafs, and gold 50 pesos on the 25th ounce. Nothing else triggers dealer reporting, period. So here again, you could sell 24 Krugerrands today, sell 23 the next day, another 24 a few days later, 20 a couple days later. No dealer reporting. You sell more than 24 in one occasion there is. So you could sell back as many American Eagles, Buffaloes, Kangaroos, Philharmonics, pre-33, Chinese Panda. None of that stuff triggers it. So it's a very small window. In silver, it's bars or rounds, generic rounds, not the coins, bars or generic rounds in excess of 1,000 ounces in one transaction, period. So you could sell 980 today and 950 tomorrow and 700 the next day. 1,000 ounces in bar or generic round form, or 1,000 face value in pre-65 silver. So anything under that amount, not triggering it. So you can sell Maple Leafs, even silver Krugerrands, not gold, but silver, old Morgan silver dollars, Philharmonics, Britannias, Kangaroos, none of that will trigger it. Just the rounds and the bars in excess of 1,000 ounces in one trade, and the junk silver in 1,000 face in one trade. That's it.
Well, thank you, Andy. And this is Stacy's number. She's a broker for Andy.
So there you go. Just keep selling under those limits. There's no 1099. There's no tax on it. Now that's as of now. Will they change? Who knows? As gold and silver become more valuable. So gold's $30 an ounce. Well, when it hits $1,000 an ounce, or silver hits $1,000 an ounce, are they going to start saying, Or gold, when it hits 20,000 an ounce, what are they going to do? Are they going to start doing 1099s? You know, the government wants their cut. It's like winning the lottery. Why does the government get a cut of that? You win $10 million. Why do you have to give half of it to the fucking government for? Because when you're losing every week, they're not giving you back a half, but as soon as you hit it, you win, $1 million. I got to give 500,000 to the government. Why? Who are they? They're not my partner. So it's just ridiculous. I think you can show, like gambling, they don't football or blackjack or poker. You can win as much as you want. They will not 1099 you. If you hit a slot machine, I think, then they will 1099 you if it's more than a certain amount. But you can offset it by losses. So that's why you see people picking up football slips that are losers, so they can say, well, I did win, but I did lose. I won 10,000, but I did lose 10,000, so I don't have to pay anything. That's why you see that at the track or in the casino, picking up losing tickets because they won, and they can offset it if they have losers. But somehow when you lose, you can't offset it. You don't get it on your tax year. Hey, I lost 10 grand gambling. I want to write that off. You can't do it. So anyway, so China's in big trouble. Let's see. Japan and Saudi just sold all of its U.S. debt. That was an earlier one. Here's another Egon one.
Standard of living in the world peaked around 2000 and it's only gone up artificially because of higher debts and financial markets going up. So that we have seen now a fake increase in standard of living that cannot be sustained, and no money printing is going to make a difference to that. So we are now going to see a massive decline in the standard of living. Standard of living is actually very much based on energy, and this absolute nonsense about the climate crowd, etc., makes no sense whatsoever. 85% of the world's energy comes from fossil fuels, and don't believe that we can replace that with wind turbines or solar cells, etc., in the short term. We might, and hopefully we can in the next 50, 75 years, but it's not going to happen overnight. So when you close down nuclear energy, coal mines, then you can understand that the world is in for a disaster.
Jeb?
So, let's see. There's one I wanted to show you on electric cars. The people in China are struggling to charge their electric cars, and they can't. There's no electricity to charge your electric cars. Here.
Look, the car's pushed up, but it won't charge. Look, the car's pushed up, but it won't charge. Once this light comes on, the car can only go a few kilometers at most. So you've been waiting here since 3 a.m.? Yeah, there's no other way. I woke up at 5:30 this morning just to charge. I can't believe it. As a car vlogger, I never imagined there could be such a huge issue with electric cars. Right now, I'm in Chengdu, trying to charge my electric car at a station. And only after arriving here did I realize I can't charge it. The plug is connected, and when I scan the code, it says the terminal is not operational. I thought maybe the charger was broken, so I switched to another one, but it still didn't work. It's not just me. Nobody here is able to charge their car. After asking around, I found out it's because of power restrictions. Hey man, are you able to charge? Nope.
It seems like none of us can.
Can't charge at all. Hey buddy, how much battery do you have left? What's the percentage? 15%.
Did your car manage to charge?
I can't charge mine either. How much battery do you have left?
My car is a hybrid, so I can still use fuel.
Hybrids are still good, but for range extended EVs, forget about charging.
I'm just here to check things out.
Yeah, nothing we can do. Just use fuel for the next couple of days. Hey man, can your car charge at all? Nope. So you're out of luck too. Power won't be restored until midnight.
I tried yesterday, didn't work. Tried again today, still nothing.
So how'd you like to have an electric car? You sure you want one of those? Leave it to China. So they ran out of electricity apparently, where it's temporarily down, but you're fucked. You can't charge your car for 2 days. So they're just leaving it at the charging things. So that's a great way to spend 2 days just sitting at the charging station. Who knows if it'll even come back? So again, it's a product there's no demand for. Why would you want an electric car and then, oh, I can't charge it because the charging station's down? If I can find a charging station. This is the problem. It's very, very, there's really no point in, I don't understand why there is electric cars because I don't know, name one good reason to have one. It's not a better, you went from horse and buggy to a gas powered car. That made sense. We gotta feed you got to feed the horse and clean up his crap, and then you go very slow. It takes, you never go from Detroit to Vegas with the horse buggy. But in the car, fine. I just find a gas station, which they're all over, and fill it up. But where's the benefit of an electric car? There isn't one. It can get locked in. It's too hot. It's too cold. It won't start. It won't charge. The charge takes forever. And as we know with batteries, the longer you have the battery, the less the charge holds. My phone's going from 100 to 40. It's just, and that's what's going to happen. The batteries aren't made to really hold the charge for a long time. That's not what they are. They have the juice, but you got to keep charging them to get the battery back. The more you use the battery, the less energy it has. That's just physics. And so what are you going to do? So why do you want an electric car? So I can be stranded there? Or what if I'm driving to Vegas? Oh shit, the chargers are down. What do? I guess I'm going to sit here off the highway for a week until I can charge the car. Meanwhile, I'm going to die because I don't have any food. I mean, I got to plan my trip like that. It's just totally insanity. So we will see. Anyway, for people that know people that don't have gold and silver, I went to a deep rub massage for my feet and back. And she's saying, what's going to happen to the people who don't have gold? And I go, they're fucked. There's nothing. The dollar you have is worthless, right? The vendors will stop taking the dollars. And the only people that will be able to function properly are with gold and silver. You'll be able to use that to buy things. And, the look on her face, I'm like, well, go buy silver. Like, what are you waiting for? So, I mean, they're so blindsided. We're 5 steps ahead in the chess game. They're not even playing chess, right? That's the difference between us and the rest of everybody is we're 5 moves ahead in our chess game, and they're not, the board isn't set up for half these people. And it's because idiots saying, oh, it's a pet rock and gold. You don't want gold. It's not good. Da, 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 da. Anyway, I think that's it. I am pooped 2.5 hours. Yeah, I'll probably just do this one. I don't think I'll do an econ class. It's just, especially with college football, because I got to study it now. I got to go in and look at the quarterbacks. I got to check injuries. There's so many games now. So I got to do that. Pros, I'm pretty quick with. I don't know what else to do as far as here's the game, here's the line, here's what type of team they are, here's their offense, here's their defense. That way it's a good analysis. Again, figuring out from there, I take 60 games down to about 10 or 20 games that I want to bet on, and then I figure out from there, checking injuries, if Cam Rising's playing. So somebody asked me, a guy bought from me, he says, when do you post the games and this and that and the other? And I says, well, they're different units. I want you to bet more on certain games than others. As you can see, there's a lot of games to pick, but they're different rankings, right? I might like one game, much higher than the other games. So I want you to bet differently. on purpose, because if I give you 2 teasers and there's 4 teams, normally I'm going to go 3-1. That's 75%. But in teasers, you break even. you win with the 2, and you lose with the loser, and you end up breaking even and paying the juice. But if you bet different amounts, we just got to make sure we hit the big one. But if I put my best teams in multiple teasers, so I played 4 locks last week. I played them each in 2 teasers. So now that's 8 teasers. I went 6-2. I made money breaking it out like that. So you want to bet differently. Now, as far as if you buy from me, I'll probably, today's Wednesday, I probably might post the pro game tomorrow. I'm going to play. I don't think I'll play the college. I might, but I don't think so. So if I play the Thursday game, I'm going to post it tonight. I just got to figure out who I'm going to play it with. And then probably by Friday, Thursday night or Friday, I'm posting the pros and the college. Most of my picks will be in Thursday night. So go check, Thursday night before the Thursday night game, check. And then Friday night, check. And then Saturday, if I really like a night game, I might bet it again with the Sunday game Saturday night. So if you can, check it 4:00 or so. Saturday, just check anything new. Sunday, I might, if I like the Sunday night, Monday night game, or if I lose a 1:00 game, like we lost Cincinnati, I would then play a 4:00 game with the night game. I already had Buffalo over with the Lions over, which did win, but I would have played more with the Lions over with the 4:00, like with Oakland under maybe. But that's what I'm doing. So again, if you're buying from me, the week starts Tuesday, goes to Monday. So we're in a new week now. Just what I discussed. Week 3 college, week 2 NFL. And the picks are just posted they're posted really at random. It's when I study it and then I feel it, then I play it. And that's what I'm looking for. But there's so many games and now I've got to learn the team. So it's taking me longer. After a couple of weeks, I'll know especially in the pros, I'll know I can pick those in 5 minutes. The college is all the teams and how good Southern Miss and UTEP and, UTSA and Ball State. You got to know all those teams because there could be very good bets betting on them or against them. So you got to learn the teams. So I bring in the stats. It all comes into my spreadsheet. And then I'm looking at quarterbacks and I'm looking at rushing and passing, total yards offensively, and then the total team offense and defense. And then I'm ranking the team. So I'm looking for the Z teams to bet against and the A teams to play. And when I get A versus A, then we usually take the dog in those games. Once I realize that they're real A teams. Right now I got some A teams that aren't A teams, but that's the way the stats come out. So that's kind of how I work. And the games are going across. So it's, Alabama and Ohio State across for 11 units. So I want you to bet. So you got your bankroll and then you're playing so much a unit. So you're going to play so much for a 5 or 7 unit game and then a little bit more for a 9, 11 unit game. And then a little bit more for like a 17 unit or a 21 unit lock. You're going to play. So you might play $50 for the 5-7 unit play, and then maybe $75 for a 9-11 unit play, and then $150 for my lock. Or I might have a 15 or 17 unit play that's not locked. It's the same thing. And that's how you should bet it. And that's how I bet, and that's how I'm successful, because I realize if I just play 2 games, 4 teams, and I go 3-1, I'm breaking even every week. So I don't want to do that. So I gotta, when I find the good team, I want to bet it twice, sometimes 3 times. So that's how I do it. So just go in, you buy, you get the password, then you go back in, and you type in the password where it says this week's picks, type it in, enter, and then you'll get the picks in the little box, and then you go from there. And that's where we're at. So that's what I'm doing. And, so we've got to learn the team. That's what's a little difficult now, is learning the teams. But we're learning them. And, you stay with now the better teams because you know them. You know Alabama, you know Texas, you know Ohio State. That you don't have to know. It's San Jose State and, Pittsburgh and North Carolina. You got to know those teams. Pros, pretty much we know. It's just like Cincinnati loses, what happened? Okay. Are they really that bad, or are they going to beat Kansas City? I mean, would it surprise you if they lost 30-0 to KC? Yes. Would it surprise me if they beat KC? Absolutely not. You still got Joe Burrow on the field, just like Aaron Rodgers and the Jets. Yeah, they lost to the Niners, but they're going to get it going, and they're not going to lose to the Niners. So keep that in mind. All right, everybody. www.teaserking.com. You can go purchase the picks. You'll get an email. You'll get a password. So you pay, you get a password. I get an email. I know you bought. And then you can feel free to ask questions or comments, or who do I like in the Alabama game. If I don't, give it out, if it's not one of the picks, but you want to bet it, I can tell you what I think there. I give scores to all the games, my scores and my lines, to compare it to Vegas to find bad lines, which I do a lot. And that's about it. So buy your gold. Let's see what gold's at right now. Gold's at 25.16, silver 28.64. Silver is just buy. It's very limited, and it's worth a lot more than that in the real world, not in the COMEX bullshit world. And the same thing with gold. We know we're buying things very cheap for what they really are. So once we get to the real price, then we're going to be very, very happy. So 25.16. So any other questions or comments before I go to the pool? www.teaserking.com. Okay, everybody, have a good day. I don't think I'll be doing so. I'm not doing baseball. I get my hands full with football, and that's more my business. And then I've been trying to teach a football class and an economics class, but I'll go back to that soon. But right now, football is taking up a lot of time. All right, everybody, have a good day. Take care. Enjoy.